Thank you for tuning into this travel talk video with Selling Travel. Today, we're going to be talking about Mississippi, what it offers to UK visitors, and how it will work with travel agents to promote the destination. Joining us today, we have Katie Coates, who is the International Travel Trade and Media Manager at Visit Mississippi. Katie, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So you were telling me earlier that it's been quite sunny there recently, so I'm extremely jealous. And I was also reading about Mississippi's year-round sunshine earlier. Could you tell me 3 other interesting facts about the state that tourists might be interested to know?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Elvis Presley was born here. We're really close to Memphis, and so it's really fun to go see where he ended up at Graceland, but it's even more fun to add that with a trip to Tupelo, Mississippi to see where he was born and where he bought his first guitar. So that's a fun fact. I always say the coast of Mississippi, coastal Mississippi is such a neat little secret fun fact. It's an hour away from New Orleans. That's where I grew up. It's beautiful white sandy beaches, fresh Gulf seafood. So that's a fun little hidden fact in Mississippi. And then the Natchez Trace Parkway is a scenic byway that runs all the way through the state from Natchez, Mississippi, all the way up to Nashville, Tennessee. So those are 3 good little, hidden facts we have in Mississippi.
Those are 3 gems. I love those, and you've definitely sold it to me. So I guess my next question, and the one that everyone watching will be dying to know, is can you sort of tell me a bit more about what's new for tourists since the US reopened and also for next year, in terms of hotels, restaurants, tours, etc.?
Sure. We actually have had several new items come up throughout the pandemic and some new hotels down on the coast and attractions. But one of my favorites is actually again in Tupelo. It's their first boutique hotel called Hotel Tupelo. That's opening up in February. And I got a little sneak peek actually recently while I was in town, and it's really neat. It's got a lot of locally made little touches. And so that's really exciting.
Brilliant. And what would you say, if we were thinking of Mississippi, what would you say it's most famous for? What is like the quintessential Mississippi thing, and what attractions does it have celebrating this?
That is definitely the music. Mississippi is the birthplace of the blues and the birthplace of America's music in general. And so we've got the Mississippi Blues Trail that runs all the way through the state, and several music museums throughout the Delta and the whole state as a region. So like the Grammy Museum is in Cleveland, the Delta Blues Museum. So music is definitely what Mississippi is most known for.
Brilliant. So obviously a big destination for any music enthusiasts. If you had to sort of say which other types of travelers a destination is best for, would you say families, couples? Who else should definitely give it a visit?
Yes, to everyone. So we kind of have a variety of visitors. We have, families for sure. We have a lot of outdoor adventure, whether it's down on the coast or on the Mississippi River, the Natchez Trace Parkway. We have a lot of music aficionados, of course. And then even just, couples or girlfriends on a getaway. We have a little bit of everything.
Good stuff. And obviously the UK and Ireland are very important markets for you guys. Can you tell me a bit more about why you want to attract them, especially for next year?
Yes, so we have a lot of that music connection, even apart from the blues, like the rock and roll and the gospel. We have a lot of people that feel a connection to music and want to learn more about the civil rights story, kind of niche markets. But really, the main visitors we get from Europe would be people who've been to the U.S. before. They've come to see, the big destinations like New York and California, Las Vegas, but they really want to know more about the authentic United States and have a nice Southern road trip. And so people who've been, 3, 4, 5 times to the U.S. want to come to the South and see us here in Mississippi and really learn more and take a road trip and get out of the city. So.
Great. So just a bit of a curveball here. If somebody was looking for that authentic Southern experience, why should they choose Mississippi over one of the other states? What's like its USP, its big sell?
I would honestly say to combine it with a couple of other states. That's probably not the right answer, but you can just see so much more instead of just seeing, a couple of big cities and then a highway. Mississippi is only 6 hours from top to bottom from Memphis to New Orleans. So you can stop every 30 minutes or an hour and see just really unique experiences and just get more to the story instead of just kind of seeing the highlights elsewhere.
So I guess because of that, that 6 hour time frame, it's probably really good for doing a road trip, maybe.
Yeah,
If you had,
go
sorry,
ahead.
I was just going to say, if you had to pick a few stops, say you had to pick 5 stops on this road trip, what would you say people should definitely stop off for?
So I mentioned the whole kind of Memphis, Tennessee to New Orleans, Louisiana trip. That would be kind of what we'd suggest for a first time visitor. And so that's going to take you through the entire state. I would definitely stop in Tupelo, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, which is about an hour and a half away from Memphis, and then over to the Mississippi Delta region. There are several wonderful towns to visit and to stay in the Delta. I like to suggest Cleveland, Mississippi. That's home to the Grammy Museum. Or Greenwood, Mississippi. They've got a really great downtown hotel that's walkable. And then from the Delta, I would go to Jackson, which is our state capital. It's where I am today. We have wonderful civil rights museums here in town, and all of our themes of music, literature, civil rights all kind of intersect in Jackson. So you can get a little bit of everything. And then from there, I would go to either Natchez or Vicksburg, and then down to New Orleans.
That sounds amazing. Can you tell me a little bit more about sort of like the civil rights museums that you have in Jackson, and kind of what can people expect to see and learn there?
Absolutely. So it's actually 2 museums in one. It's the Mississippi History and Mississippi Civil Rights Museums. They were opened in 2017, state of the art. And, of course, we're on the National Civil Rights Trail, and we have a civil rights trail kind of similar to our Blues Trail in Mississippi, where you can go see physical markers where different events happen. And so the Civil Rights Museum is really well done on its own, but it's also a great complement to go see those sites that happen throughout the state. So you can go to the museum and then go down the road in Jackson and see, Medgar home, or go see the Emmett Till marker in outside of Greenwood. So I would definitely say they are a must do if you're in Jackson.
Brilliant. And I guess you're going to be sort of working with the UK trade to promote the destination and sort of generate interest. So I'm just wondering what you're going to be doing to sort of encourage bookings. Will you be running any fan trips or agent incentives? Do you have any new training programs planned? Anything along those lines?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. We actually are getting ready to launch a new online training platform. It's through our partnership with Deep South USA. So it's going to be deepsouthlearning.com. It's co-sponsored by Delta Airlines. So once you complete several programs, there's going to be incentives. You can win 150 pounds per month for completing the modules. And then some names will be drawn to win a fam trip over to come and see us through our partnership with Delta. So we're really, really excited to launch this soon.
Very exciting. And if a UK agent was to ask you what your top selling tips for the destination are, what would you say? How would you sell Mississippi?
I would go back to that combination road trip kind of itinerary, and combine it with Memphis and New Orleans. There's 2 major airports there. We also have airports in Jackson and on the coast, but combining it for that story with the music and the people and everything just works really well.
Great. And how are you, on the consumer side, how are you going to make sure that the Mississippi stays a top destination for the UK and Ireland markets?
We are just gonna keep doing what we've been doing, stay in these markets. The UK and Ireland and all of Europe really has been our top market for many years now. And so we work with lots of different tour operators and receptive markets to kind of stay top of mind.
Great. And in terms of sort of leisure travel trends over the coming years, is there anything that you're seeing pop up or anything that you're projecting?
That's a good question. I think, we've heard more and more people just want to kind of get out of the big city, like I mentioned earlier, and come and, kind of our new campaign we just launched in Mississippi is called Wanderers Welcome.
It's time to take a detour from the expected, to zig where others zag, to take the road less wandered, to discover new places and make new memories. In a state where there's something different around every turn. Mississippi. Wanderers welcome.
So we definitely want to help aid in that, but I think we are seeing more and more people just want to come and kind of stay in unique lodging and have unique food and not really more of the city kind of experiences.
Great. And are you sort of seeing any trends with sustainable travel or stays or lodges, etc.?
Absolutely. And we have certain areas in Mississippi that are really doing a push for this, but all over the state, there are restaurants who are pushing for, less plastic, farm to table. We have an Amtrak service that runs through the entire state. So we're kind of pushing that as a great option. It stops in Jackson and it goes from Memphis down to New Orleans. And we are looking to open one that will go from New Orleans across the coast as well here in a couple months. So that train travel is important. And then just kind of our outdoor experiences are great as well.
Perfect. Some insider info there. And sorry to mention the dreaded C word, but obviously one of the reasons why sort of outdoorsy things are becoming more popular is because some people are nervous about lots of indoor time. Do you have any sort of COVID measures you're taking, any sort of safety measures on, in terms of like your airline partners or hotels, etc.?
Yeah, so a lot of our hotels and restaurants, we don't have a statewide, policy in place, but each independent business can put measures in place. So most all of our attractions, hotels and restaurants have rules about wearing masks while you're not sitting and eating. And then of course, if you're in an attraction, keeping 6 feet away and all the things that we've been seeing. But we are doing all those measures here in Mississippi too, just to keep all of our visitors as safe as possible. And then we also offer testing that's kind of easy to access all throughout the state. And so if anyone has questions about that, let me know and we can kind of put you in touch with the right place if you need to get tested to go back to your country or anything like that.
Great, that's very reassuring. So last but not least, Katie, as a Mississippi native, if someone said, please describe it in 3 words, what would you pick?
Gosh, I would have to say hospitality comes first to mind just because it really is easy to sell Mississippi once you've been here. The people are second to none. They're so kind and go out of their way to ask where you're from and help you and anything like that. If they hear an accent, they're probably gonna come and talk to you.
Good to know.
So hospitality for sure. Food. We have some good food in Mississippi. We're getting ready to have our little Christmas office party here tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to everyone bringing in their potluck items because it's just always wonderful. And then a third, I would just have to say culture. It's a really unique mixture of people here in Mississippi. A lot of different, like from our Native American history and different kind of groups of people that have settled throughout the region. Like we have a big Cajun influence down in Natchez and on the coast because of its proximity to Louisiana and the French culture. So it's just really unique and you just have to come and see it to understand it.
Wonderful. Well, it's definitely on my list now. You've really sold it to me, Katie. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was really lovely to learn more. And I hope you have a lovely Christmas.
Absolutely. You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.